why did God stop showing himself to us so much after Jesus?
Please go watch her video in its entirety first, as she has some really good points. I just want to expand on it just a little bit more. And before I start, I just wanted to give you a little bit of a recap of what was mentioned in that video in case you don't want to go and watch the entirety of it. So she went on and mentioned that there were multiple times, and she gave examples in which God manifested himself to the people of Israel, to his people. And if you read your word, you know that despite those manifestations, even miracles, the way that God shows his power, the people of Israel still choose to fall away. So here is what I'm going to show you. This is in Matthew chapter 12, and we're going to be starting in verse 38. This is when Jesus is discussing different things with the Pharisees. They're testing him, trying to see if they'll make him say something that's out of line and judge him publicly. But here we go. So it reads, "Then some of the scribes and Pharisees answered, saying, 'Teacher, we want to see a sign from you.' But he answered and said to them, 'An evil and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, and no sign will be given to it except the sign of the prophet Jonah. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of a great fish, so will the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. The men of Nineveh will rise up in the judgment with this generation and condemn it, because they repented at the preaching of Jonah, and indeed a greater than Jonah is here. The queen of the south will rise up in the judgment with this generation and condemn it, for she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon, and indeed a greater than Solomon is here.'" So basically what he was saying is, oh, you want a sign? I am the sign. You can see all throughout Scripture many different ways that God manifested himself or give a sign, whether it was himself or if he presented a sign through somebody else. And many a times there were multitudes of people that rejected that sign. They rejected him. They rejected his prophets. And even when he presented himself in the flesh, as you can see here in Matthew, he told them, without saying, "Hey, I'm the sign. I'm right here. A greater than Jonah, a greater than Solomon is here. I am that sign." And they still didn't believe him. And ultimately, he knew that they weren't going to believe him. But for those who would, and even for those who wouldn't, he died for us. No matter how big, how small, how great, he died for you. You just have to accept it. Him. He is the sign. He is the way. He is the truth and the life. So maybe you've asked yourself this question: why doesn't God present himself in such ways that he has before? He doesn't need to. He's God. He doesn't have to prove himself to anybody. And even when he did, but he didn't need to, but even when he did, we rejected him. We rejected him. And as much as you would like to say, us here now in this generation, oh, if I was somebody back then, I wouldn't. You never know. You never know. You cannot be so certain. Yes, there were those who did choose to believe that sign, but even they had their doubts. Look at Thomas. So yes, let his sacrifice be enough of a sign for you. Receive the gift of salvation, his love, his mercy, his grace, to atone for any and all sin that you've committed in the past, that you're committing, that you're going to commit. because we're not perfect and we're on a gradual path of sanctification, but even we fall and stumble. He was the only perfect one, and he chose to die for us anyways, even though he knew that we would reject him. That's sign enough for me, and I hope that's sign enough for you.